Good morning and welcome to the first in a series of webinars for SWATCOM. My name is Zoe Hastings-Hindle and I'm the Sales and Marketing Director here at Airsis. I'm joined on the panel by James Dobson, my Marketing Manager, and Russ Billings, who is the General Manager at SWATCOM. Russ has been at SWATCOM for over 8 years and will be presenting the webinar today. Airsis were delighted to be appointed the only platinum distributor for SWATCOM last year, and we're looking forward to delivering these webinars to you over the next few weeks. But before we start, I wanted to go through some housekeeping. Everyone will be on mute for the duration of the webinar, but you'll also have an opportunity to ask questions throughout the webinar. So please submit your questions in the questions box at the bottom of the screen, and then we'll read them out at the end of the webinar. If we don't have time to read out all the questions, we will contact you directly to provide an answer. So the first webinar will be about wireless communications, including full duplex options. Products include SWATCOM 2Talk, SWATCOM Multicom, and SWATCOM Pro. So without further ado, I will hand you over to Russ, who will take you through the products in more detail. Over to you, Russ.
Good morning all, and welcome to the first in a short series of webinars from SWATCOM. As Zoe has already mentioned, in this webinar, we're going to look at full duplex systems, 2 of them. The SWATCOM Multicom, which is a 10-user system. But first, a very simple 2-user system, which is the SWATCOM 2Talk. It comes in 2 variants, the helmet attached, as you can see here, and the headband. For ease of use for me, we're going to concentrate on the headband. The 2Talk is exactly what it says on the tin. It's 2 people being able to talk together simultaneously over a Bluetooth 2.4 gigahertz system. It's simple to use, it's simple to pair, and once the actual systems are paired, it is a case of turn on, utilize your volume control or your mute button if you want to just receive only, and go ahead and talk or listen. The distance between headsets is comfortably 200 meters line of sight. And it comes with rechargeable 2 AA batteries in this battery compartment here, and a recharging point, single pin that plugs into a Euro socket or UK socket here. If you fail to charge the rechargeable batteries, then you can put standard AA batteries in the compartment to use. The hygiene kits are easily removed and replaced, and it comes in 2 colors, this high-vis yellow or black. The high-vis yellow is the most popular, takes up probably around about 99% of our sales, and is readily available in stock. It is encrypted to 128-bit encryption, and it does not interfere with any other communications in the vicinity. The headset comes with all the standard EC, CE, UK, BSI regulations, and the SNR for the headband is 29, and for the helmet attached 28. The environments we find that are mostly used are tree surgery, one-on-one between the tree surgeon, because they do connect to the petzl helmet, and the man on the, or the person on the ground. Environment agencies, very much in a similar kind of scenario. Also tractor drivers, crane drivers with other workmen on the ground. Factory workers, 2 persons working together, riveters on aircraft engines, etc., and airport de-icing teams. So come the months of November through to February, we do see an increased amount of requirements for this type of full duplex system at airports. And additional purchases have come from the highways agencies and marine agencies as well, for 2 personnel talking together through an open communication, full duplex, license-free, standalone system. Key questions that very often get asked are, does a pair operate with another pair in the same facility? The answer is yes. There is no issues with overlap. When they are paired, it is a private net that they are assigned to. and we have had various pairs in the same facility, up to 5 pairs, with no interference across each band. Other questions are, do we pair these to mobile phones? The answer is they can be individually paired to mobile phones, but they are unstable. The Bluetooth system utilized within the TwoTalk is very much headset to headset. Very simple. Retail at £350 per headset, so £700 a pair, and then there's your discount from Axis. That is simply the SWATCOM TwoTalk. Now we go on to a more advanced system for 10 users, and this is the SWATCOM Multicom. A very lightweight handset, only 180 grams. As you can see, it is made with reinforced plastics, and I'll just do a 360 on the handset before I get onto the headsets. You have an OLED screen here and an on-off button here. Once you turn the handset on, you'll see the actual system set up. It works off a group, so you have actually 40 groups. A group effectively is a channel, so 40 channels, and then you select the users throughout that channelization. It works off a master, and then 9 other personnel in full duplex will assign to that master. As long as you're on the same group and they have the same ID security, 10 users, the master plus 9, will operate on a full duplex system. Alternatively, you can program it so 9 people are on full duplex, that's a master plus 8, and then unlimited personnel are on either listen only or simplex mode. And this button here then becomes a simplex PTT. In addition, there is the same button on the top, so you can use either the large PTT button here or the one at the top to enter into the conversation. And it operates for that operator as a standard mobile handset, where you keep the handset pressing down, talk, and then depress when you want to go back to listen. The mode operation allows you to actually assign which handset is the master, which handsets are the other full duplex users, or the listen only or the simplex users. In addition to that, it has a side tone, which allows side tone levels of 1 to 5, depending on what levels you want to listen to yourself in the ear when you transmit, or side tone off if that's the preferred option as well. It also has a microphone sensitivity of 1 to 8, and the sensitivity of the microphone is very much determined by the headset you have plugged in to the handset. On the side, you have a volume up and down, and on the top, you have a rigid antenna that can be detached by unscrewing it and then screwing it back on. To the bottom, you have a USB charging point, very much charged like a mobile phone, and it does come with a charging lead. And then the 2-pin socket for your headsets that will come on to shortly. At the rear, we have a belt clip, and by removing the actual back of the actual handset, you have a detachable lithium battery. The lithium battery is 3.7 volts at 2A lithium. The recharging time from empty is just under 2 hours, and it will give you around about 12 hours talk time. In addition to that, you can actually charge through the cradle, and that's the 2 pins at the back, and you can get a 5-person or 5 handset cradle. The handsets and the headsets. It comes with a variety of headsets. When you purchase the actual handset itself, it comes with this kind of telephone handset, single-sided as standard. But the majority of headsets can be or actually manufactured to work with the actual SWATCOM Multicom. We have referee headsets, such as this single-sided. We have leads that with a TP120 connector can actually plug into this TJ101, and that will bring in most military headsets or industrial headsets like the Peltor or ProTac, or the Saldine mil-spec headset, etc., etc. In addition to that, you have all your standard industrial heavy-duty headsets that can be wired to configure with this, and an array of other lightweight headsets. We have just sourced and been able to utilize a full duplex wireless covert system, utilizing the RCR headset, and that is going to go on trial at one of the Premier League football clubs this weekend. It comes license free. It has 256-bit encryption, which is the minimal encryption required for the military and defense forces, and it has an additional layered encryption within the device, so you can actually layer the encryption to only ensure that personnel within that group can listen to the actual frequency channel that you are selected. The purpose of that was a requirement from the nuclear power industry, and this is currently being utilized for decommissioning of nuclear power stations, Sizewell being one of them, and in addition to that, the decommissioning of the Royal Naval submarines up in Scotland and the nuclear reactors. It also has been welcomed and is the only full duplex system allowed for use for Team GP in training and in competition, to allow professional shooters and spotters to talk on a wireless solution on the actual Olympic stage. Other non-ATEX environments, and this is a non-ATEX variant, are industries very common to the two-talk, but where they require more than 2 people, and that is Transport for London, highways agencies, airport teams, factory workers, and other organisations that require people to be hands-free in communication. The handset retails for £445 per unit, and additional costs will come with the headsets, depending on what headset you require, and your trade discount applies through Airsis. So there you have it. That's the SWATCOM Multicom and the SWATCOM 2-talk. Any questions?
Thank you, Russ. No, that was very informative. And if anyone does have any interest in the products that you've spoken about, and to call through to Airsis and speak to the sales team, and we'll be happy to help. There are some questions coming through, so I'll start with the first one. How stable is the 2-talk and Multicom when moving at speed?
The 2-talk, we've had people working on quad bikes to round up deer in the New Forest. 2 personnel on their own quad bikes. They've gone up to 200 meters apart. They've had stable communications within the countryside, if you like, and they've not come back and actually said there's anything that it's not providing them at that speed. I can't tell you what speed they're at. In addition to that, we've had Ben Ainsley Racing, when it was Ben Ainsley Racing, they use a 2-talk for crew comms between the main person on the actual boat in training. This is only training only. And the actual support vessel, which is a rib, and they've managed to talk at 30 knots quite comfortably in good weather. Because of precipitation over the water, they have been reduced down to 50 meters as opposed to 200 meters, but that was expected. For the SWATCOM Multicom, we've done a self-test. Myself, managing director, and one other had 3 cars driving up motorway, driving on the A3 and M27. We managed to get comfortably 200 meters at, I would say, between 50 and 70 miles an hour, where we put it through its paces. And we had clear, concise communications at that range. We didn't push it any further because the actual roads bend and everything else, and you naturally lose conversation because of that. But very stable at 200 meters at between 50 and 70 miles an hour between 3 cars.
And of course, you'd never drive over 70 miles an hour anyway.
No, never have done.
Never. No, good. Another question that's come through is, at what temperature have both been tested?
Minus 40 and plus 50 on the 2-talk, We had a scenario in the Middle East, in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, where they wanted to utilize them for airport groundworks. One of the actual requirements was that level of temperature, which the manufacturer gave us. And yes, they are. So the two-talk is minus 40 to plus 50. The Multicom is exactly the same, but it is very much dependent on the headsets as well in use. But we can't see any issues with those temperature ranges, or certainly the plus temperature ranges for most headsets.
Great, thank you. Another question that's come through: what security clearance has the Multicom been given?
Well, that's an interesting and a good question. We done the trials with the nuclear power industry. They demanded that there was another level of encryption, which is a 4-pin encryption within the device. It had to be a minimum of 256-bit encryption, which it does meet, and it has to have frequency hopping. So the Multicom 2 meets all the requirement from the defense industry and the actual nuclear power industry. The two-talk is a standard 128-bit encryption, which you get as standard, which is an industrial standard, and does protect you from anyone listening who really wants to listen in. So both good to go.
Perfect, thank you, Russ. Another question that's come through: what is the IP rating on the products?
The two-talk, when worn, is IP 56. It's a robust bit of kit, the two-talk. Tree surgeons have them, and it's probably one of the hardest environments that we would actually sell them into, that we recognise that there is a lot of usage in them. The managing director's son is a tree surgeon himself, and he has put it through its paces, and they don't come back. Unless they're actually damaged through human error, they don't come back. And we've had them coming back sometimes for a new hygiene kit or a new flush through. And you just wonder sometimes why the guys are still wearing these on their head, because they just look disgusting. But they are very robust, and it is IP 56 for the two-talk. The handset itself, the actual Multicom, is IP 67. But again, the handset itself is fine at 67. When a headset is introduced, depending on the headset, will determine the actual IP system of the entire unit.
Great, thank you. And one final question we've got: do you have any demonstration kit available to show end users?
We work with Airsys on that. Airsys have a demonstration kit and we do also. What I would encourage is that you have a client that requires on-site support, then myself or a colleague from SWATCOM will discuss and help you with that direct, and we'll work on your behalf to get you all the support you need on site and also over the phone. Using our demo kits, we will discuss, if necessary, the loan of equipment. We normally go for a process where we encourage them to rent it as opposed to get it for free, because they do tend to look after it more then. And then after a period of time, if things are all good, then we would encourage trade to purchase their own demonstration kit at a reduced cost, and to go forward that way.
Great, and I'd add to that if you've got any opportunities that you'd like to discuss, give us a call. The team here at Airsys would be happy to help, and obviously we can help to implement what Russ has just said. That was the last question, so thank you very much, Russ, for today. We have got our next webinar at the same time next week at 10 o'clock, which will be the ATEX Wireless Communications that Russ will be talking about. So we really appreciate everybody's time today. Thank you very much for attending, and we look forward to next week for the new webinar. Thank you. Thanks, Russ.
Cheers.